Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of The Success Shift. My name is Jake, and it's another beautiful day, which makes me very happy. And it's also a beautiful day to have a beautiful day. As we were discussing last, I think it was Tuesday, kind of to shift our perspective on how we start our mornings, how we go to bed. I'm wondering if anyone's been practicing that since we spoke last in the last couple of days. Maybe if you're listening to this on the podcast over the last little few weeks, if you're listening to these later, I know it's really had an impact on my life, and I've been continuing it, and it's been shifting my mornings to a very, very positive mindset. With that said, I had a couple of really rough night sleeps, and so waking up was even harder, but I still managed to find a way to look up and say today's going to be a great day, and it really has sort of flowed through. So I hope people have been finding use in that. Today, I'm just grateful for learning. Sometimes I come across things and they just like really shift my mind. I've said before, having this podcast has kept a routine for me, kept some form of discipline to keep pushing my knowledge, to keep learning so that I can hopefully try and share mind-blowing and perspective shifting things with you who are listening. But I do it in a selfish way, in the sense that I don't know if it's just the way my brain works, but if I have to do something for myself, I find it really hard to find the motivation. But if I'm doing something for others, it really helps me to keep on track and to keep disciplined and to have that self-control and the ability to continuously do the effort. I'm really trying to work on finding the self-discipline for myself. But just the way my brain works, I find it extremely hard. Now, having this community, I'm very grateful for. I'm grateful for everyone who shows up, because that does drive me. That keeps me going. And yeah, I want to create new content, and I'm doing it in a selfish way because I'm trying to learn. Having this as a responsibility makes me learn for myself. And the more I learn myself, the more I grow, the more I develop, and I'm opening my mind up to so many different areas. And, it just one thing leads to the next, leads to the next. So I'm very, very grateful for that. And a couple of things that I'd like to share with you today, but I'm just, grateful for the ability to learn, grateful for the changes I've had over the last few years that have put myself into this new mindset, into this new environment of sharing and growing with a community of people who also want to share and grow. And the fact that there's a group of people who wake up extra early in their morning, like 5 a.m., 5:30, whatever it is, to listen to the stuff that I'm learning, that I'm sharing. And, my growth on such a difficult journey for trading is just, sometimes I forget how important that is to me. And I just want to bring gratitude to everyone here, and gratitude to that ability to learn. So that's what I'm grateful for this morning. Chuck in the chat some of the gratitude that you may have coming into today. Grateful for a change of scenery. Oh, lovely. Yes. I talk a lot about environment, and sometimes environment shifts can be very, very important. In fact, I'm probably going to bring that up a little bit today in what we talk about. So a change of scenery can sometimes be good, especially if you fall into this repetitive trap, or there's this monotonous motion of just the same old thing over and over again, and you feel like, I need change, I need something to boost me out of where I'm at, especially if we're on a growth path. A change of scenery can be fantastic. So I hope that's lovely for you there. I'm having a great morning. Thankfully, I'm back to routine, and that feels amazing. It's funny, we have a change of scenery and then coming back to the routine, both things of gratitude, literally the same, opposite things, but from different perspectives. So one being grateful for a change of scenery and kind of probably leaving that routine, similar lifestyle, and the other one finding gratitude for coming back to it and finding the routine. I really love the fact that we had both of those bits of gratitude one after the next. That makes me it really opens your eyes up to see that that everyone's different from so many different points of view, from so many different areas, and almost conflicting bits of gratitude, but still finding gratitude for them. So I absolutely love that. I'm so grateful for increased hope, joy, connection, and challenges. Increased hope, that's amazing. I think that hope is one of the things that we really need to hold on to no matter what we are striving for. In Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning, he talks a lot about how the ones who survived had hope for either finding for family members that were out there, or they had a strong enough why, and they believed so strong in the hope of something greater, something bigger, something after the camps, and having that hope actually is what held them through and created their longevity and survival inside these camps. So very interesting use of words there. And it does. Newfound hope is really what can motivate a lot of people. If you truly believe something and you hope that it's going to come true and you hold on to that, you can find motivation in the toughest of times. Grateful for you, Jake, and your beautiful perspective on life. Oh, thank you so much. That's really, honestly, I know it sounds a bit cliche, but every time I hear comments like that, it really does touch me and it makes me feel really good. So thank you very much for sharing that. Okay. What are we going to talk about today? I know Tuesday was a very powerful session. A lot of people sent me some messages saying they took a lot away from that, which I love. I'm very, very happy when I get those kind of responses and hopefully shift some mindsets. So some of the things that I've been looking at this week, quite some interesting stuff. And I was deciding what to talk about today and what to talk about tomorrow, but I think I'm going to leave the more visual stuff for tomorrow so you can think about over the weekend. But today I really was trying to dive into what are some of the issues that lots of us have when trading. What are some of the things that we fall short on, shall we say, maybe continue to make mistakes. And it really comes down to these two core concepts that, these two core emotions that I talk about quite a lot, and it's fear and greed. And as I dive deeper into this, I really think that you're either coming from a space of fear when you're learning to trade, and this is in general life as well, not just in trading, or you're coming from a space of greed. And there's so many different levels, and it's not just a one or the other. There's definitely a scale of this. But I think the more we can start to understand ourselves and start to understand our background and our, where we're coming from and what, I suppose, frame of reference we have, then that's the fastest we can learn ourselves. So I think understanding that is extremely important. Do you come from a fear place? Do you come from a greed place? Lots of people I speak to, there's people who were talking yesterday that have been trading with us for a while and they still haven't made any trades. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but that's obviously coming from a fear state. That's fear to many certain areas that it could be, but there's a fear of either losing a trade, losing money, whatever it may be. And then there's a lot of people that have come from a greed state, like lots of overtraders, I believe, are coming from a greed point of view. And so the more we can learn that, the more that we can really start to learn ourselves. Do you come from a place of overtrading? Do you come from a place of fear? Check some ones in the chat if you feel like you're coming from a place of greed and overtrading and, hitting that button way too much and taking too many losses, and put some twos in the chat if you think you're coming from a place of fear and you just never hit the button at all. I am both. Totally a bipolar trader. Okay. Now that'd be very interesting to unpack. And I think a very, very good insight to yourself, and wondering, maybe I'll message you personally and we can unpack that, or maybe we can spend one session trying to unpack that, because if you think you're both, it'd be really interesting to see where your mindset's at and where we can sort of work on. Because I think that maybe I've always seen it as you're either one or the other. And if you believe you're both, then there's probably other people out there who believe they're both as well. And we can try and work down that path and maybe unlock a few key aspects as to how we can help those people as well. A year ago, I wouldn't have said I had a greedy hair on my body. Apparently, I was wrong. Anna, this is my exact story. Before I got into trading, I thought I'm not greedy at all. I really thought that I was selfless. I like to give. I like to share. I'd take the clothes off I like to think that I would take the clothes off my back for someone else who's cold. But it turns out I am very greedy. I have a lot of greed running through me. Maybe my selfless acts come from a selfish place. I'm trying to learn all of this, and I feel like there's a lot of people who have come down the path similar maybe to you here, where they believe they weren't greedy at all, and then they come into trading and they're like, whoa, where's all this greed come from? Why am I like this? Let's try to unpack a bunch of this, usually childhood, I wouldn't say trauma, but childhood beliefs, childhood values, childhood upbringings, all that kind of stuff that creates this greedy person. And this is what I'm really trying to delve into today, because I think the key for overtraders here, it comes down to impulse control or self-control. Now, this is a term that I've been really trying to dive into quite heavily. I think if you're fearful, then you have really good self-control in the sense of, I really don't want to, maybe you're overthinking and you really don't want to do anything wrong. And so it's best just to do nothing. Now, whether that's overthinking to an extent which just shuts you into paralysis, I'm not sure. That could be a certain area as well. But for lots of us overtraders who just like bang, 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 then I think this comes down to that impulse control. Because I know, especially for me, once I start to observe my own behaviors, once I start to really break down and objectively review my trades, I find that I have great logical understanding of trading environment, and my trading abilities, but I don't have the best impulse control. I don't have that hold back on my emotions. And the thing is that I've gotten to a stage where my knowledge is able to justify logically all the actions I've made. And now this is a dangerous position to be in. So I've got enough information to justify my foolish mistakes, but I don't have enough information to withhold myself from making these foolish mistakes. Now, I've come a long, long way, and I'm very proud of the growth I've had, but as is always, there is more to be had. And the more I look down at it, the more I believe it comes down to this self-control, this impulse control. And if we look at this not from a trading perspective, we look at this from a generalized concept, I think everyone can really learn a lot by understanding where they're at with their self-control. Now, put some ones in the chat if you think you're good with self-control, put some twos in the chat if you think you're horrible, and it's something you may need to work on as well. So we have a mix of overtraders and fearful traders. 1 and 2. Okay, good with it and need to work on it. Okay. I think a few of these concepts that we can go into related around impulse control work on sort of delayed gratification, self-regulation, how do you self-soothe, all these kind of concepts. And this is what I really want you to start to think about yourself, especially to people who are overtrading, but also maybe to those who are fearful and not entering. If it is a place of fear and overwhelm, then self-soothing can really, really help in this area as well. So one of the concepts I want to talk about first is, I'm sure you've heard about me speak about delayed gratification. I speak about it quite a lot, and it's something that we really need to, I think, bring to the forefront of our minds and bring awareness to. Now, put some ones in the chat if you've heard of the marshmallow test, the Stanford marshmallow test. It's pretty commonly referred to study. But for those of you who don't, so ones in the chat if you have, but for those of you who don't or haven't heard of the Stanford marshmallow test, basically what happened is there was a research study done, and they took a bunch of kids, they sat them in a room, popped the marshmallow on the table in front of them and said, here you go, here's a marshmallow, but I'm going to leave the room. And when I come back, if the marshmallow is still here, I'm going to give you a second marshmallow. So basically the temptation's left there, they're completely unattended. And the idea is put forward that if you refrain from eating this, you'll get a second marshmallow. Now they leave, some of the kids just gobble them up within seconds, right? Some of them are just looking at it, maybe pick it back from the bottom and try to hide it. Some of them are just sitting there twiddling their thumbs for ages. And then I don't know the exact study that was done. There's one study that says after 15 minutes they came back. The other study is done that they said that they're going to just measure the time before the kid actually took the marshmallow. So what happened was, after the 15 minutes or after a certain period of time, once all kids ate the marshmallow, they came back, they got rewarded or did not. And then they continued this study. So over 40 years, they tracked these kids and their progress in life and success and everything like that. And what they found was that those who were much better at holding off the delay, those who lasted longer before they ate the marshmallow or didn't at all, were found to have success in all areas of their life growing up as they got older. You know, CEOs were the ones that didn't touch their marshmallow, and lots of wealthy people were the ones that had longer waiting periods and happy families, et cetera, et cetera. So it actually played out in a bunch of different tests. And now this was by Walter Mischel back in 1972. Very interesting concept. With some pretty interesting results as well. And I think that the problem here is that when we go into this day and age, there are so many things that bombard our mind in just split seconds. So you can get distracted in seconds. And I really think that there's a correlation between how good you are at your impulse or self-control and your success in trading. Because I know for a fact that if you have the ability to look at a setup and go, this isn't actually perfect, I'm going to wait. This is like basically saying, no, I don't want to eat the marshmallow yet because I believe something better is going to come up. Okay. And then you wait and you wait and you wait. And then eventually something will come that's better. Now, it depends on your situation, your environment. Do you have time? How long can you wait, et cetera, et cetera? Do you need to take a trade every time? Some people happily go, I don't have it in this period, I'm going to shut off. I'll come back the next time. And all these aspects really do build up on top of each other. Okay. And again, this can come down to your willpower. Like reels, they are one of my kryptonites. It's something really bad. I spoke to my partner just yesterday because the 1st of the month, sorry, must have been 2 days ago, 1st of March. And we came up with this game. And so what it's called is this, well, I'm calling it the habit control game, basically. So what I'm doing is I bring to her a habit that I'm really trying to break, that I'm really bad at. And this is my self-control with reels. It's almost autonomous now. I'll click on my Facebook, and then before I know it, I'm scrolling through reels. And it's just because I don't have that self-control. So I say to her, look, if you ever catch me, this is the place where I can watch reels, because sometimes I actually do like it for motivational stuff and for inspiration, for learning, because it's all tailored to what I like. So lots of motivational stuff, lots of mindset stuff, lots of neuroplasticity stuff. So sometimes I do like to have a sit down and go through them. So I've isolated a spot because it's very environmentally based. If I'm watching it here, this is okay, this is acceptable. If you see me watching reels anywhere else, you get 2 points. If I catch myself, pull myself out of it, then I get to reduce it by 1 point. When we get to 20 points, you get a massage. And if we can get to the point of the habit being broken, then we can choose something else. Or if I get the habit being broken, we've got 0 points, you haven't caught me out, then I get a massage, something like that. So it's both beneficial for both. It's not a negative based idea. It's bringing your family members, it's bringing those in the immediate environment into the awareness of trying to break the habit that you have. Okay. Now this comes down to this impulse control, this self-control. And we can have this with social media reels. We can have it to snacks. Like as soon as I start watching a movie, boom, I just want snacks. Like it's just almost like immediate. These are self-control and impulse control. I don't want to say issues, but that's where it comes down to, right? Also exercising, masturbation, for example, especially if you've got a partner, all these things, but not being able to resist the urges that come up immediately for something that you believe will be better later is having poor self-control. And if we can start to get on top of this, it's going to affect our trading as well, mainly for the overtraders here. So if you can sit there and you can go, this setup's okay, but it's not perfect, right? And this is what a good trading plan can come down to. If you do have this poor self-control, if you do have, if you're not great at self-regulation, then you need to set up your environment so that it can really control you. If you have urges with impulses, but you've got a list that goes, has it ticked all these boxes? No. Okay, then don't enter it. It's just that simple. And we have to get that self-discipline to follow the rules so strong. So if you've got these weak self-control, you've got not the best impulse control, setting up your environment to enable you so that you don't have to do the instantaneous control, right? So if I've got a trading plan with a set of rules that I need to tick all these boxes before I enter a trade, for example, then I know exactly where my issues are, because if I'm entering trades that don't tick all the boxes, boom, I need to work on that. I need to work on that discipline. There's obviously something with the willpower that I have, my ability to follow what I'm saying. Maybe I need to find some more self-respect for myself and trusting the words that I use and not just going against what my previous person said. So all these kind of concepts can really help us to eliminate that overtrading and to find a way to really wait for these best trades, because a lot of people I speak to, they've got this overtrading issue. Okay. And it's something that I really want to work on bringing down, and really want people to understand that if we can wait for these best trades, it's going to help. Doing less is more in this case. Trade less, wait for the best setups, you will have better results. But what do you need for that? You need to have a good understanding of delayed gratification. Waiting, this is okay setup, but it's not the best. I'm going to wait. Having that impulse control. Yeah, I am urged to press this button now, but I'm not. Okay, this self-discipline. And now other things that can help here is like self-regulation and self-soothing. Self-soothing, I think, is very, very powerful. And it's basically, how do you regulate your emotions by yourself? Now, if, for example, you struggle to do it by yourself, then you need to set up your environment. So you have triggers and cues and things like that to help you. If you're trading and you feel like, one thing that I've noticed with me is I'll see a setup and it looks like, say it's going to reverse. I go to enter the trade. It doesn't quite do it then, and I exit. Then my mind gets stuck in this, it's still going to make that move. I'm going to try and catch it again and again. And as the chart moves sideways, the environments change. We have to reassess. Okay. But what you have to do is realize, okay, I didn't make that move. Am I now emotionally attached to this move? Or can I just self-soothe, self-regulate, control my impulses for long enough that I can go back to logical thinking? If not, just get off the charts, remove yourself, do these kind of concepts. So just quickly, some of the ways that we can self-soothe. And I think the ability to self-soothe especially in stressful environments, which trading can be. Trading can be very stressful. You take a loss, you're panicky, you're like, oh no, I need to get my money back. Okay, you've got this revenge trading, you've got this fearful trading that you're going to lose. Maybe you're trying for a prop firm challenge and you're like, oh, if I don't make this % by today, then I'm going to lose the challenge. All these kind of stress triggers can start to build up. And so your ability to self-soothe, especially on the charts, is going to be so impactful on your long-term results. Okay. Trading is fully emotion driven. The whole process of trading is designed to fluctuate your emotions so that you make foolish mistakes, so that people who are in control of their emotions, the big money makers, will be able to take your money. How do we control our emotions? Well, learning to self-soothe, learning to self-regulate, learning to understand when we're starting to get fluctuated, learning to understand when we're getting a bit fearful, a bit greedy, jumping into these emotional states rather than these logical states. So finding ways to self-soothe that are quick and instantaneous can be very, very helpful for bringing that level down, bringing your awareness back to the logical state, and then hopefully making smarter decisions rather than emotional-based decisions. Okay, so you can literally Google ways to self-soothe, and funnily enough, the top 10, the top 8 that pop up, the very first one is change the environment. If possible, just change the environment for a few minutes. And this can be very powerful. We get so sucked in and so like hyper-focused on what this exact candle is doing. And I'm going to talk about this tomorrow. But when we get hyper-focused into this exact movement, into this exact point, into this push, into this candle, then we lose an understanding of what the greater environment's doing. So sometimes maybe when you don't get that move, or you miss that trade, or it goes in the opposite direction, just get up and take a walk for 2 seconds. Just remove your focus from this exact environment. Remove the hyper focus and just change your awareness just for 2 seconds. Maybe look out the window or go give your partner a kiss. I don't know, do something that's removing yourself from this. Yeah, okay, you might miss one in like 100, you might miss the move that comes in the next 2 minutes, but that is not long-term trading. That is just a one-off unlucky situation. Okay, this is why for me, journaling each and every trade is that removal from that environment. I need to take myself off the charts. I need to look down. I need to journal. I need to be focused in on that. And this gives me like that time to regulate my emotions, to self-soothe, to come back to kind of like, okay, let's look at this logically again. And when I don't trade with my emotional journal, like a couple of times in this last couple of weeks, I haven't gone to journal. And what's happened is I've overtraded. My emotional impulse control has gone out the window and I'm back to like firing away at the button. And I realized because I haven't actually got this time to self-soothe, I'm back into this poor impulse control and I'm trying to catch the move again. And I've noticed it straight away. Okay. So stretch for 5 minutes. You could just get up and stretch for a couple of minutes. Soothing imagery. Maybe you've got a nice picture that you can hang up on your wall where you're trading. And so if you get into that state and you're like, you look at this beautiful picture, you're like, okay, right. Well, like your why, if you've got your vision board, that's a great one to use because you can look up, you can go, okay, hang on. I don't need to get sucked into this hyper-focused little 2 minutes of trading. This is why I'm doing this. Let's calm down. Let's just go back to logical thinking. If you like smells, if you like music, like I often always burn an incense to bring that self-soothing down. When I'm in trading mode and I have that scent, I'm like, calms me, breathing, all these things. And you can also, stack on. You don't just have to have one. You can do a few things. But the idea is know yourself well enough so that you can self-soothe, self-regulate, and do better with your impulse control and your self-control. Why? How? By understanding delayed gratification. Understanding there's going to be more trades that are going to come. Okay? Almost always. So make sure that you are actually jumping in on them, jumping in on these ideas, these concepts, understanding your self-control and finding ways to self-soothe. Does that make sense? So I hope that's connected with a few people. I realized that anyone who was on the Kajabi, I was muted the whole time, so I apologize for that. Anyone who's been on this Kajabi, I've been muted the whole time. I apologize. Sorry if you came in early. For everyone else on the podcast here, let's go jump over to our trading call. Make sure you go through all of your stuff. Make sure you go through your whys, your trading journal, your trading plan, all your rules, etc., etc. Get yourself into the right frame of mind, and we will speak to you again tomorrow. Okay. Much love to everyone, and for those listening on the podcast, I shall speak to you soon. Bye.
Thank you, Jake.
Thanks, guys. Bye.